So the previous video looked at the way we define queries on app data. Now let's see how we can define queries that point to regular databases. So I mean things like Oracle, SQL-Server, MySQL, Postgres. What we've had to do first is to set up a connection to those databases. So that was dealt with in an earlier video. So now let's define a query that pulls data through one of those connections. So we come to the Queries tab, and we'll actually just look at some ones that we've already built. So the first one here is customers. Let's go and press edit. And now we can see apps. We don't want this. This is pulling data out of apps. Connections, this is the one we do want. And again, I can pull from private or shared connections. And here we've got the cars connection, and I've dragged across into the right hand side, or used the arrows here, the customers table from the cars connection. Click on next. And I don't need to worry about this because there's no join needed. It's a single table. Then we've got inputs and outputs. Inputs are things that are passed in to the query, so they're part of the where clause, if you like, if you imagine a SQL statement. Uncheck the ones you're not going to be using. And then output, these are the fields that you want to be returned. So in other words, they'd be part of the select clause, returned back to the app for displaying in widgets. And then this runs just a test query. We've also got something a little bit more advanced, which is a join. We've got here a query called customer orders. This is actually pulling in data from 4 tables from the cars connection. Now if we click on next, you can see here this is now a little bit more interesting in the join wizard, because we've got to define the relationships between the 4 tables. So the join types, the tables, the individual tables here that we're joining, and the relationships between the tables in the join line. And then finally again we've got the input and output parameters and a view of the data. So the final thing you might want to do is to set up sharing. So by default, when I set up a query, I've also got the apps that I own also have access to the queries. But if I want to grant access to other people, to other application craft users, then I come to the sharing tab and I can add a user, for instance. So I could look for a particular user or a particular group. Here's the group everyone. And then I specify what rights I want to give. So make sure that that row is selected. Full means that they can edit it. Use means that they can consume it, clone it. So those are typically use is the one you're going to grant.